It's Saturday today, that's why the shop is so empty. Not that the crew gets every Saturday off, it's just that it just happens to be Saturday and they had other stuff that they wanted to do. And at the same time, I have all this stuff I gotta do. So that's why there's nobody here but me today, but I work basically every day. And that's the way it is when you work for yourself. You work every day. You can't tell Wednesday from Easter most times. And that's fine too, I guess. I mean, you do what you gotta do. And then another thing I need to do is put some of these bird feeders out. I've got 6 feeders on the property up in trees, and this time of year, this fall of the year, it's November, the birds are, they're just going right through them. So I try and keep up with that and keep them fed as much as I can. So I'll grab me a ladder, drag it with me to the trees, and now we got to take a break and go to town and do a little business there, and we'll be back here in a little while. Yep, here comes the crew. Along with three-wheeler, Mr. Mac. Headed out in a cop car. And the next thing we're going to do is figure out why the check engine light came out on this car. I've owned this car for about 10 years. I've put 40,000 miles on it. This is the second time it's ever happened. And the first time it was a sensor, and I'd imagine that's what it is this time. But we're going to check it out and get to the bottom of that too. Now, what you do once you're in the car is you take this end and you find the end that matches it down on the driver's side. It'll always be on the driver's side on all vehicles. That might even be law, but it's on the driver's side somewhere. It's generally down there at the bottom somewhere. You just have to feel around, get up there with a flashlight, but it's within reach of the driver's seat. So you just check that out first. And we get up under here. There it is. So then we just plug this guy here into it. And this was about a $20, $25 unit maybe. I've had a $16 unit that worked fine. You don't have to spend more than 30, 40 bucks on one of these. And you plug it right into your lighter. And then you simply turn on your key. And check it out. And here's a little trick. You can just shove them through sometimes too. And not fight them. Like that. And now we have us a big bucket of lights. And now we're going to straighten this door up a little bit. You can see it's sagging pretty good right there. That gap compared to that gap. And straighten that up before I paint it. So we've opened the door. As you can see, those are a bit of a mess. But I'll be able to easily adjust it. I'll just put bigger washers on it, maybe bigger bolts. Bigger washers like that. And now it's adjusted. Nice and even. Now I've got the porta power over here. I'm going to straighten up this band. You see where it's bent right there? You see it's bent. There, I just had to get up there and get a little more leverage. But it's straightened out. And now as you can see, that's much straighter. Now we have the same thing here. That one's bent way down. Got it pretty much straightened out. Here comes little Prissy. Just walked out the shop door. Hi. Hi, you. And here's Macker. Hey, Mackers. What are you doing, buddy? Oh, Macker. And there's the little Prissy. Hi, little Prissy girl. Oh, you're so nice. And you're so nice, too. Oh, and here's Sydney. And he's so nice. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I guide coat bodywork that's been primed. It needs, they call it wet sanding, but I don't wet sand. I dry sand. And then I'm going to show you how to guide coat it and how I go ahead and block sand it after that. Okay, I just use any kind of black spray paint that's worth anything. It doesn't even have to be worth anything. And then, got your block here. Spread this out, put the block on it, cut it, push down on it a couple times. Now you've got a block that's ready. This here, what you're doing is you're just doesn't have to be a super even coat or anything like that, but it does have to have visible coverage. And the reason the coverage has to be visible, I will demonstrate. You see, all I'm doing is just giving it some visible coverage. And it doesn't even, probably won't even seem that visible on the video, but it is. I'll show you. Now, when you go to sanding on this, you have to let your coating get dry first. This way you can see where the low and the high spots are. And there's a lot of actual technique that goes on here. You have to keep this clean. You have to keep a certain even amount of pressure. You have to make sure your board's good and flat. But you see how this is coming through, and I'm sanding the paint off of it, and the spots where I'm not sanding the paint off of it are obvious low spots. And that's how you can tell. That's how you can tell where you're at. See, there's an obvious low spot right there. It's mostly gone now. You got to keep your pressure light. See the outline of some of the anomalies coming out from before? See how that's gone now? And this is just 220 grit. 220 I wouldn't recommend for something final, but I'm probably going to reprime this. And if I don't, I'll go over it with 400 just to make sure that I can paint it without any complications. 220 is not the end of the world, but I prefer 320 or 400. And if I'm wet sanding like this, and by the way, I'm not wet sanding. This is just the process in auto body that is most widely recognized as wet sanding, but I'm definitely not wet sanding. See that low spot? You know, and then we'll work on, there's a low spot. And that's how you make sure that you get them all out. And I have to do this to this, and that roof, and that side. And then I'm gonna reprime. That's what the whole deal is today. Well, that's enough responsible adult stuff for one day. I'm just gonna spend the rest of my day figuring out what the heck else we can get into. See you next time.